Okay. Hey, everybody. Well, yeah, Eric, you were just saying new place. I'm trying to find the right place to do the videos. So, and I forgot that this screen behind me could open up and you could also see an amazing tree. If you can see it, it's gorgeous. It's a honey locust tree and it has tons of bees in it, and the bees just buzz every morning. So when I go out and sit out there early in the morning at 7 o'clock and have a cup of tea, it's just amazing to see how these bees are just up and active and doing their thing, and there's this kind of soft kind of buzzing that's a ubiquitous sound. It's really, really gorgeous. And I know that in our upline, we do have quite a lot of Mormons in our in network marketing, because Mormons work together really well. And I know that when I went to Utah, they had a whole thing about the bees. They had a whole thing about, they even have it in their pavements. They have images of bees, and they consider the bee a really important, insect to show, working together, how they work together to create the honey and how they build the hives and everything. So it's quite fascinating. And in the Celtic tradition, the bee was always a very, very sacred insect also, because it brought the honey that created the mead, I guess. And also because they dance in a very special way. They dance in a way that's called a lemniscate, a figure of eight. And the figure of eight is the sign of infinity. And so they were always considered very sacred because they were literally kind of drawing out infinity. And then, of course, the honeycomb is, amazing six-sided hexagonal shape, which we talk a lot about with our water, with our PyMag water, the hexagon shape, and how that's so critical for our health and like a lock and key to the cell. So I'm just intrigued that I have this honey locust tree, or they call it an acacia tree also. It creates the acacia type of honey, and these bees. And I can't find a nest, but the bees are everywhere. And I'm not afraid of them at all because they're busy just doing their thing. And it really does remind me, this call is about our business, the business of Nikken, and how in our business, we really can't do this in isolation. I mean, the key thing about it is that it's a team thing. It's a team game. If you've been watching Michael Phelps in the, Olympics, he loves the relays. I mean, I think that's when he gets the most emotional, is when they win the relays, because it's him and his team players winning together, even though we know he's the greatest, and what is it, 28 medals now and 23 of them golds, I think, or 24. I mean, he's like the number one athlete in the world right now. But yet, when he really gets emotional is when he gets to win with the team. And so I know it was Stephen Covey that talked a lot in I think it's in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or it could be in the 8th habit. He talks about this growth from when we're children being dependents on our parents or our caretakers. And then we grow up, and when we become teenagers particularly, we start asserting more and more of our independence, which is good, and that's what we're supposed to do. And we become a lot more autonomous. And so we're really learning then about what it is like to be an independent person in the world. But he said there's a whole other level of evolution that's really important and critical if we want to grow to the fullness of who we are, which of course in Nikken is humans being more. We're always looking to be our best self and help others be their best selves. And so what he's talking about here is this growth and development and maturation into what he calls interdependence. The realization that actually everything in this world works interdependently. And indeed, it's true. And if you really want to study interdependence, you really just need to look at nature. Nature's right there. And nature works. Balboa Press is calling me. Sorry, and I can't stop it. That's weird. Sorry about that. This is my new phone, my new place, and I have no idea how to stop it. Okay, but I can turn the volume down. There we go. That's good. So that's my book publisher. So So anyway, when we look to nature, I'm looking at nature right now, what we see, and even with this tree, this honey locust tree, is that everything is interdependent. The earth, the soil, the sunshine, the air, everything is working together with that tree to create the brilliance of what that tree is. That its true nature could not exist without all the other elements. And the bees are interdependent with the trees, pollination, creating honey. So you see in nature this perfect example everywhere of how it all works together. And the key thing to learn in our business, I think, is that, I'll back it up, most people come from a background of working for somebody else. They're working for a boss, and then they decide that, I'll never get paid what I'm worth working for somebody else. I want to work for myself. So they want to claim more autonomy. So they move away from working for some corporation, some kind of big daddy, and they start becoming more and more independent, like a teenager, becoming more autonomous, and they start working for themselves. And that, in a lot of ways, is a lot more fulfilling. But then after time, you realize, wow, that's really hard work. If you only work for yourself, you're very, very limited because of the time you have every day to put into your work. And there's just you that's responsible for it, only you, and nobody else to share that burden with of making your income. And if you are sick, you can't work and everything's dependent upon you. So although a lot of people take this on, this self, working for oneself, I can tell you from having done it before, Nikken, that it can be very exhausting and actually quite lonely in a weird way. No matter whether you're good at it or not, of course it's better if you're good at what you do, of course, and you'll get paid more what you're worth. However, it's still very isolating. And this is what I see mostly in our world, is that most people now, from about the age of, I'm going to say around the early 30s is when it gets really tiring to work for somebody else and you're sort of done with that and you want to take on your more autonomy. So, in the 30s, there's a big push towards autonomy. And then in the 40s, often you realize, like, wow, it's not working so great. It's not working as well as I thought it would. If I'm sick, I don't work. If I don't work, I don't get paid, and all of this sort of thing. So this is what we see. And our business of network marketing, and Nikken specific, and we're very blessed to have Nikken because we have the best technologies that exist in the network marketing industry. And now with the retail and the network aspects, we have the best model for moving forward with the criteria of what the FTC is asking us to meet. So we're really leading the pack in network marketing with our technologies and our business practices. So it's somewhere often in the 40s that people realize there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to earn money, to have a business, to create more freedom. Because the self-employment thing doesn't give us freedom. And most of us, deep down, we want freedom. I put a thing on Facebook this morning and asked people, what is your heart's deepest desire? And one of my friends put freedom. And I was like, yes. Somebody else put inner peace of mind, or inner peace. And I was like, yes. And somebody else said, to be the best I can be. And I said, yes, like it's all pertinent. It's all pertinent. So we're looking then for different strategies in the world to say, how can I shift this trading time for money, whether I'm working for somebody else or I'm working for myself, to attain more freedom? And the greatest way to do that is through teamwork. And the greatest model of teamwork or interdependence is, in my opinion, network marketing. Network marketing is a revolution in business. It's a revolution in how we look at business and how we create business together. So we can't create it in isolation. And as you well know, because I think all of you are familiar with the compensation plan, the only ways you can succeed in Nikken is, number one, building your customer base and getting the retail profit and building that up. And that's wonderful. And that's a way to create income. But it's not where the big income is. The big income lies in building the network. Now, we need to do both things. We want to do both things because we want a solid customer base. That's great. And I love that we're building our customer base. It's wonderful. However, if you want to really create wealth in your life, serious wealth, you have to build a network, a team. And the bigger the team you build, the bigger the network you build, the higher your income becomes. So this is this principle that Paul Getty said when he said, I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own effort. I want you to really think about that, because we've heard that, we've all heard that before, but really think about what he's saying there. I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. Now, when the penny starts to drop, and we call it the penny doubling effect, compound interest, I think Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world, reproductive residual income is extraordinarily powerful. Extraordinarily powerful. However, once the penny drops and you say, okay, I get it. I'm going to build a network marketing business and I love these products, so I'm going to do it with these technologies because I feel good about them. I feel I can look someone in the eye and say, this is fantastic. I really recommend it for you. Michelle and I were just doing Pilates together, and we were talking to a gentleman there who hurt his back. And I felt so confident to be able to say, this really helped me with my back, and I know this will really help you with your back. And talk to Michelle about these products, and don't miss this. I said, don't miss this, because you may only ever have one person ever introduce you to Nikken in your lifetime, and you don't want to miss it, yeah? Because we all know what these products do and the miraculous nature of them. But when you're starting the business and you decide to do this as a business, it's just you initially. Yes, you have a sponsor. Yes, you have an upline, and you want to use them to the max. You want to use them so much that they're like, could I please take a break? You want to use them every single day, every single night. You want to use them up, because that's what they're there for, is to help you and mentor you, you know. But there's still your upline. When you're looking to build your network, it starts with just you, right? You got your upline of support, but you don't have a downline yet. And so you're looking to build that downline, to build a powerful network, in order that that network is strong enough that it can replicate itself and duplicate itself over and over and over again, so that you go from one person to sponsoring 3 people, and those 3 people sponsor 3 each, and then so that's 9 plus the 3 is 12 plus you is 13, and then those 3 sponsor those 3, and so it multiplies out. And it's the power of numbers, it's the power of duplication that makes the ability to create wealth very real. But if you don't have the multiplication and the duplication, it's still going to be you doing a transaction with somebody and that being like you're self-employed. So the biggest thing that has to happen is people's mindset has to shift from an independent way of thinking to an interdependent way of thinking, and then acting on that thinking. To realize that nobody in Nikken is ever alone, ever. Everybody has a sponsor or an upline. And if your sponsor leaves, my sponsor left, yes, they made millions of dollars because I went out to build a big network, but yet they still left energetically, mentally, whatever. It didn't matter because I had somebody else to work with in the upline. And I didn't really respond to the next one in line or the next one or the next one, but I found somebody who I did really work well with. And so it's up to you to find that upline person. If it's Dave Johnson, fantastic. If it's Ben Woodward, great. Whoever it is that you relate to, but you've got to grab them and say, okay, it's me. I want to make this work and I need your help. Will you help me? And then literally you sort of marry that person in a sense, marry in inverted commas, because you do cleave to them and you work with them every day. So if you want to build a powerful network, it is critical that you are in conversation with your support every day, but not just to chat. It's not about having a chat. It's, I've got someone for you to see. I've got somebody else I'm talking to. What about him? What about her? Could we meet with them? I'm doing a thing at my house. I'm going to have 5 people. Can you come? I'm going to have 10 people. Could you come? Could you come in on video? Can you come on Zoom? Can you come on Skype? Could you come, in person? And that's how you start to build your network. And as you're building the network, you are looking for the bright ones, the bright sparks. You must know how to identify a real network marketer in your team. You must know it. And you can usually tell it very quickly, because usually a natural networker is going to go out and start talking to people immediately without knowing much of anything. They're going to just be inspiring, enthusiastic, passionate. They want to share. They want to share. And so you can find them. It doesn't take a lot to glean who is who in your team. And in order to build the big network, the global network, we think globally and then we act maybe locally, maybe not necessarily locally. It depends where you find your people. But you're thinking of a global network, a big web, because that's how you're going to create your wealth, and you're going to help them create their wealth by doing the same thing. But you're looking for those who are very proactive. Like I do a call every Tuesday morning on how to lead, and it's all about proactivity. It's okay, what am I going to do today to stimulate my business? Not waiting for my downline to ask me for help, but what am I going to do today? I'm saying this for myself, but also for you. And so the greatest networkers are highly proactive because they understand that if they work really hard for a few years, they will have the freedom they seek because the model works, because the numbers work, if you have the right people. Now, if you don't have the right people, if you don't have go-getters, if you don't have ambitious people who are compassionate, love others, but are ambitious to find and create their freedom, you will not have yours. This is the part where interdependence is tricky. Interdependence is wonderful. I think it's the most noble way of working in our world. I love the networking concept. I think it is brilliant. And you will see that when you find real team players, it is so much fun because together you create success together. And you realize that you can't do it alone, and you can't just say, oh, I did it, or oh, she did it, or he did it. You realize like, wow, we all did this together. And that's it's one of the most fulfilling spiritual experiences in our lifetimes, is that feeling of oneness with others. We can feel it in nature easily because nature is easy. Nature doesn't talk back. Nature doesn't have totally different opinions to yours. Nature just is. And so it's easy for us to find that beauty with nature, but with people who all have different personalities and different visions and different gifts and different challenges, it's much more difficult. But when you find the ones that are your constituents, the ones that are really meant to work with you, you can feel it almost immediately. You can see it almost immediately. You say, oh, birds of a feather flock together. And you'll feel this, this resonance, this alignment with them. And you'll know that together you can create great things, right? Together, create great. So, like Michelle, for an example, Michelle, whom I met in Pilates, she's one of my Pilates teachers. I was just like, from the moment I met her, I was like, who's she? She's fabulous. Not only beautiful, fabulous, but beautiful on the inside, fabulous. Beautiful and striving and learning and excited and funny and bright and full of light. And I'm like, she's the perfect kind of person I would like to work with, because she lifts me up as I lift her up, right? We lift each other up. It's such a joy. And we're always really happy to see each other, and it's real and it's genuine. And when you have that kind of relationship with somebody, you want so much to help them succeed. You really want that for them in your bones, because they can have it, because they've got what it takes. So you have to find the people that have what it takes. That is vital to your business. Otherwise, like I say, it's just you having a transaction. You have some customers, it's wonderful. You sell them some product, they love it, they buy it, they're happy, but it's not building a network, and it's not giving you the freedom. Does it help? Yes. Is it important? It's vital. We must have customers. And the company's set up for that now. And that's very, very good. And it's building the network. And so how do you build a network? Is you are looking to sponsor many, many people who either are customers first and then upgrade to senior executive, or they come in immediately and come in as seniors and executives. And you're looking to find the right ones out of the group that will go to the silver level. And then you're going to help them duplicate and find others who will go to the silver level. And our entire business is built on that silver level. Everything in Stair-Step Breakaway program and in our program is built on that Stair-Step Breakaway position. And in our business, that's silver. So if you want to be a platinum or a diamond or a gold or a royal diamond or whatever, it's a multiple of silvers. And if you start to understand it, you'll see it's 42 silvers and a certain volume requirements to go royal diamond. It's not that difficult, but it is difficult if you don't have the right people. It is difficult if you're trying to pull people along over your shoulder. It's hard work, and it should not be like that. You may work hard yourself. I love working hard. I think it's a privilege to bring what we have to the world, and I love working hard with it. I have no problem with that at all, because I really believe that work is love made visible. That's Gibran, the poet, said that work is love made visible. This is how we contribute, and we're all here to help each other and all here to contribute in different ways. And so it's a beautiful thing to work. Work is a good thing, not a bad thing, especially if you have a business like this to build. You have infinite possibilities with this business. Infinite. The sky's the limit. Your earnings are there's no limit to that, right? We had the last few nights, we had all the shooting stars. I mean, talk about inspiration. Just had to lay out there in your Nikken cocoon. That's what I did with my friend. And we watched all the stars and shooting, and 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and they're all whizzing around. How can we not be inspired by the magnificence of our universe? And so in our business, infinite possibility. It just depends on who you're going to meet next. Who's the next person? And you never know when it's going to break big. And suddenly you're going to find somebody who says, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take this to the top. And you're like, wow, I found someone. And then you watch the action, and you're with them in the action, and you see if they're actually congruent through the action with what their vision is. They have a big vision, then they're going to have big action to go with it. Inspired vision, inspired action equals very inspiring results. If you just have vision, no action, no results. If you have no vision and lots of action, not much result. You need both your inspired vision, cultivating your vision, and the action required. And what is the action? It's all about communications and connection. That's what we do. Communicate and connect with others to show them a better way. a better way to take care of their health, a better way to do business, a better way to create wealth, a better way to create freedom. And this is the joy. And you're going to find, as you really commit yourself to going to your next level, whatever that is, gold for you or platinum, whatever it is, that as you really get into that framework, that vibration, you will attract a whole different group of people, higher consciousness people. You want high consciousness people, people that are here knowing that they're here to bring joy, they're here to bring love, they're here to bring peace to our world, that they're high vibration. They don't let the negatives get them down. They don't speak negative. They don't do negative. And that's what we see with the I Can workshops. Is what I love about it is that, William and Mike, it's so great, and Marty, they're all like, we don't do negative. We don't do negative. So sometimes we have things that happen that we don't like right now we don't have an air system and we want it back and we want it back quick. But let's not belabor the point. Let's focus people back onto the water, the sleep. There's a myriad of other things that they can get right now. So do we focus on what we can't have or on what we can have? What we can't do or what we can do? It's always about how the mind is working to create the very best scenario. And we learn that. We learn that in Nikken. It's a school. It's a consciousness school to learn how to really be in control, in the right way of using the word control, of our mind and our emotions and our actions, and how to work with the universal intent, to work with, whether you call that source or God or universe or your inner voice or your heart message or whatever you call that. We work with our inner intent and our universal connection, and then we work with the people and we help them to tune into their universal intent and what's really being called forth from them. And this is how we do it, and it's a real privilege. It's a huge privilege to work this kind of business. So I want to encourage you to find your teammates. This is probably the most important thing. Every day, I ask the universe, bring me the people I can help. Bring me the people I can really play with. Bring me the people I'm going to have fun with. Bring me the people that I can have success with by helping them. And that really creates the energetic motion before the action happens, before the actualization occurs. You've got to create the internal intention. So do that, call for your people. I feel like we're all connected in the universe. There is a song going on that we can't always hear, and we're always calling and receiving from each other all the time. So, put it out there energetically. I want my team. I want the right ones. I want the ones I love, and I want to help them, and they want to help. You want to help them find their people too. That's just as important, but you don't have as much control over that because they're going to be the conduit. They're going to be the messenger to that friend of theirs more than you are. You can help, but you can't be the one to do it for them. So that's really this message of today. And I am delighted to have some questions or some thoughts that come up out of this. We have gone for about just a little less than 30 minutes. We could go another 5 minutes. So if anyone has a question, fire it away, or a thought or comment, and we'll just go a few minutes more, and then we'll complete our recording. But I'm sure people who are listening to this later would like to hear, if you have a good thought or a good question. Does anybody have anything?
Julie, I'd like to say something.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on my iPhone, so I'm not used to doing it on this. The thing I particularly am inspired about what you've been talking about is having a team, that you're working, to create something together. And it's interesting because I keep creating teams within cross lines. And in fact, Randy and Louise and I have got together because we love the Michael Oliver way of doing things, drawing people out. And ever since we had a conversation with her, I've had 3 very powerful conversations with customers. And I can see a way through with the ICANN and also Michael Oliver. If I have a team, I know I'd be able to help them do the same, you know, support them to really draw people out, find out what their real needs are, and then help them. So I feel excited, and that is the one thing I need now. I've got loads of customers. I just want a team that I can play with, exactly. So I'm going to say that every morning. That's what I want, because I keep doing it cross-line, but that's no good. I want to do it with a team. It's good, but it's not what I need ultimately for my business.
Yes, for your business, you need a downline team. It's lovely that we work cross-line, and I love that too. And I love it that we can work with all our upline, but ultimately it's up to you to be the one building that downline team that you can really help. And that's going to give you your freedom as well as theirs as well. So that's great. Good job. Fantastic. Anybody else have anything to add or ask before we complete today?
Yes. Yeah, Julie, it's Randy. I could just, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally identify with what you're saying, because, you know, I grew up in a family where I was the oldest daughter and made everything happen all by myself. And, you know, in school, I just, you know, overachiever and everything. And the sports I was in were always individual, tennis and swimming. And yeah, team comes hard for me. And because I'm just used to relying completely on myself. And I really enjoyed this call to encourage us that, and especially what Kathleen said, you know, we need a downline team as well as crossline. And I like the idea of envisioning those people coming, not just the customers and the excited people who say they want the business, but then there's no activity. It's really about attracting the people who get as excited as I am.
Exactly. That's so great, Randy. Absolutely. And you will.
So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, yes. I mean, for me, I think the image that you started with about the relay race is the key. You know, we are fortunate to have discovered so much through our relationship with Nikken, but to make a difference to the world, it's about sharing that and passing the baton on and helping them to pass the baton on. And I think that's really the key. You know, when we see everybody else in the world walking around with blindfolds on, how can we not help them to avoid stumbling?
Yes, absolutely. It really is a moral and an ethical obligation, I feel, once you know about something like this, to let people know and let them decide if it's something for them or not. But if we keep it to ourselves, it's a real travesty, because we have seen so many miracles with physical ailments, let alone mental ailments, let alone emotional ailments, let alone spiritual ailments, and not just in the physical body, you know, or, you know, in the issue of just health, but in the issues of wealth, in the issues of having time for family and time to travel and all of that. And so we want to open people up to those possibilities and say, you know, have you really ever considered this? But yet, you know, you have to be a team player. You do have to be a team player. And I think all of us could echo Randy. We're all good at being independent. We're all strong at being independent, but are we strong at being a team? You know, and the team is what shares in the glory and the success. And really, you can't do this alone. It's just the truth. You cannot build a big business in Nikken alone. You have to do it with a team of people. So that's what makes it fun. And you know, yes, there's some relay. Sometimes you're the one pushing forward to go gold, and then you're the one focusing on somebody else that's really pushing forward to go gold. And so there's that element where there are surges in the business where one person's surging. But if you don't have people in your downline surging right now, then you know you have to be the one to surge forward to make that happen. So you have to feel into, when is it the time for me to really run hard? And when is it the time for me to just be looking to support and mentor others? And usually it's a combination of both. For most of us, it's a combination of both things. It's a support once you have the good people, yes. and it's a run to find more good people that you can work with. And if you build sort of 3 to 5 or 6 really solid legs in the business, you'll do very, very well. Very well. So 6 legs that are really strong platinum legs and above, excellent. And with everybody focusing with the building of the PV as well, you know, the retail aspect, great. Then you'll have a lot of solidity. But you've got to understand what it's got to look like and what needs to happen for it to happen. Otherwise, you just keep wondering, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? I've got lots of customers, but why is it not happening? Well, as Kathleen said, well, I've got this great relationship with my cross line, but I don't have it with the downline. So need to find the downline, you know, need to get that and get that as your number one focus so that you can have the great relationships with your downline. And if you can't have those relationships with them, you need to find other people that you can have those good relationships with. So, you know, it's up to you to find the ones that you really love working with, because you deserve that. You know, I think everybody deserves to have people that give them great joy to be with. Just like you choose your partner in marriage, you get to choose your partners in Nikken, and choose wisely and be mindful of that you want to really cleave with them, and it is like a marriage, and that you really build closely together. So so that's it, everyone. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your evening. I'm going to complete our recording here, and I'm happy to stay on a few more minutes if you'd like, but I'm going to stop the recording because we don't want to go too long on that. So here we go.